Hello again. It's Sheltering with Swami and Nikki. I'm Swami Chaitanya.
Nikki Listretto, and now this is going to be part 2 of our little talking about Goa that we just started on the first video. And first of all, I want to make a correction. I apologize to Swami. I checked it. He's 100% right. St. Francis Xavier was, in fact, a Jesuit, and that was the Jesuits that settled Goa in India.
Yeah, and they went all the way to the Philippines and to Japan, and that's actually St. Francis Xavier. That's why he's called the Apostle of the Orient. And there's a great church right outside of Panjim, the capital of Goa. And by the way, it's really wonderful to sail on a ship from Bombay to Goa. You come into the harbor, and that's in the very early days. That's how a lot of us in the late 60s, early 70s would get to Goa, because many people would be coming from North India at that time. The thing was, in those days, it was Goa for Christmas was what everybody said. If you were in Nepal, you were in North India, Rajasthan or Varanasi or something like that, especially north there of Bombay, it was going to get really cold and up in the mountains. And so all of a sudden everybody discovered Goa as a place where you could hang out. And as Nikki was saying, it's loose and free and, booze, and it's Christmas. And that's, so many of the travelers in the West were, of course, Christian. And the rest of India, not being Christian, you all of a sudden gravitated to a place where they were selling, what do they call it, Papa Noel? Who is it that they have in Goa? And so usually there would be kind of a mass migration down from all over Southeast Asia, or South Asia actually, to Goa. All the hippies and so on would come from all over the world, actually, people would gather. And that was when the partying started.
So a little history here about it. It was in the late 60s when a wonderful man named Eight Finger Eddie was the first, supposedly he's credited as the first hippie to have found specifically an area called Anjuna, which was a beach that we lived on for several years in India, in Goa. And Eddie came, and he was an older guy. At the time, Eddie was probably in his late 30s, which at that point,
he's older than our generation.
He was older than us, older than the younger hippies. And he had come from New York, and he was just a brilliant guy. And people followed him. People loved Eddie. And they came there, and Eddie found the first house that a local person would rent to them. They have these beautiful old Portuguese-style houses there along the beach in the jungles under the coconut palms. It was pretty sparsely populated at that point, and Eddie got somebody to rent him a house, and then he had a bunch of freaks living with him on the porches of these houses, and then people started setting up shelters on the beach, and the Goan people were very welcoming. And as I said in the last one, they actually even got into business with a lot of the hippies doing the smuggling, because it was a perfect place to go out for the rest of the season and gather up your charas or hashish from other parts of North India or even Afghanistan and bring it down to Goa, and that's where you were going to ship it out from, as well as other illegal substances. But it was a great place, and the Goans had the skills of how to do it.
Well, because they were partly always trading, as you'd said before, the whole shipping and so on from China to Angola and up to Portugal. But the idea was that this was a place where the hippies could get together, and it was almost like a critical mass. There's, India is so big. There's so many people. As a traveler, you'd see occasional other Westerners, or as we always called each other, freaks. But when you got to Goa, there was kind of like a cluster of everybody, and people, as Nikki was saying, they would build things on the beach with just woven palm trees as shelters, and then the party started at full moon, and people would. Mostly they had guitars and
well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to stop this one because we're about at the time length we can allow.
Really? Okay.
So tune in for episode 3 of Naked on the Beach in Goa. And that will be we'll get into the music a little more. How's that?
Thank you. All right, and we'll see you later.
Oh, I actually thought that had gone off, so that one's gonna be shorter, but that's okay. Let's see. Oh, I didn't hit this.